Making profitable deals is what sporting directors are paid for. It's never easy, as clubs are always eager to make the most out of selling their players. At times though, they still let them go for too low a price, so today we would like to tell you about the biggest bargains of recent years. But before we start, we would like to ask you a question. Which one of these players cost Manchester United the least? Robin van Persie, Nani, Wayne Rooney, Dimitar Berbatov? Please leave your answers in the comments, and now let's go. Mike Maignan, 15,300,000 euros. The PSG Academy product made a name for himself at Lille, the team that sensationally won the Ligue 1 title in 2021. Once that season was over, Mike Maignan was signed by AC Milan as a replacement for Gianluigi Donnarumma. The Italian keeper had long been disliked by the fans, but his quality could never be denied, as shortly after he left Milan, he became one of the brightest stars for Italy at Euro 2020 on their way to the title. So Mike Maignan had a task in hand: replace such a massive player. AC Milan in turn went for a promising keeper for an affordable price, which ended up being the right decision, as it didn't take the Frenchman long to adapt to the new league. In his first season for Milan, he won the Serie A Best Goalkeeper award, as well as the league title, the first for AC Milan since 2011. The second season for Milan hasn't been the best one for the Frenchman, as he had to miss the bigger part of it due to injuries. Once he recovered, however, Maignan at last made it into the national team, as Hugo Lloris retired from international football. Mike's performance in March was the best demonstration of why he deserved to be the new first-choice keeper for Le Bleu. His club, however, has long lost all the chances for any domestic silverware, though at the same time they are now one step away from the Champions League final. Denzel Dumfries, 14,250,000 euros. The Dutchman's career soared right after Euro 2020, where Denzel Dumfries was a first-choice right-back for his national team and scored 2 goals, while his overall performance impressed a number of big clubs. The one to want him the most was Inter, that signed Denzel from PSV for quite a modest sum as a replacement for Achraf Hakimi, who had left for PSG. The Moroccan was already considered one of the best right-backs, and probably the most attack-minded one, so replacing him was not a simple task. But the Dutchman handled the pressure perfectly and started making an impact from day one. His first season at Inter finished with 5 goals and 4 assists in the league, which was a more than decent result for a right-back. In addition to that, Inter won Coppa Italia, Denzel's first trophy at the new club. Once the season was over, the likes of Chelsea and Manchester United tried to sign Dumfries, but Inter had absolutely no intention to let him go. That was probably the best decision for all the parties, as both the team and the player haven't been at their best this season. The Dutchman has scored 1 goal and made 6 assists in Serie A, though looked way more solid for the Netherlands at the World Cup with 1 goal and 2 assists. It is now rumored that Inter may sell Denzel in summer, while Man United are reported to be still interested in signing him. Alphonso Davies, 14 million euros. When Bayern signed Alphonso Davies from Vancouver, the Canadian was more used to playing as a left winger and was supposed to keep playing his primary role at first. But the head coach Niko Kovac found a way to make the most out of the youngster, as Davies was moved to the left-back position. That spurred the player's progress, and at the end of the 1920 season, many were ready to call Alphonso Davies the best left-back in the world. You probably remember the Canadian humiliating his opponents throughout the Champions League campaign, as well as his overall attacking impact that helped Hansi Flick's Bayern win the treble in 2020. Since then, however, Alphonso Davies hasn't been in the spotlight that often, and the explanation for that is quite simple: his constant injuries that make it nearly impossible for the Canadian to bring back his old self. Should he play though, he often shows that he's still a big attacking threat with 6 goals and 14 assists in 104 Bundesliga appearances for Bayern. Alphonso is only 22 years old, so he still has a chance to have a brilliant career provided he gets over his injuries. Dear friends, before we go on, we'd like you to help us gain 5,000 followers. If you like our videos, please leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to tap the bell button so that you don't miss our next video. Christopher Nkunku, 13 million euros. The PSG Academy product Nkunku tried hard to make it into the first squad, but having to compete with the likes of Neymar and Mbappe left him no chance, so the striker left PSG in summer 2019. RB Leipzig was the club to sign him, as the Bulls noticed the Frenchman's incredible potential. His first 2 seasons at Leipzig were actually quite a success, with 11 goals and 22 assists in the league. But it was the 21-22 season when Christopher became the Bundesliga star, as he scored 35 goals and made 20 assists in all competitions, and was deservedly named Bundesliga Player of the Year. As you would expect, Nkunku became a transfer target for many big clubs, but Leipzig managed to keep the striker. It was rumored, though, that at the beginning of this season, the Bulls agreed on the future 60 million transfer with Chelsea, and many pundits now see it as a done deal. Unfortunately, Nkunku's performance has been hampered by his injury, which caused him to miss the World Cup. After Christopher had scored 12 goals in the Bundesliga before the break, thus becoming its leading goalscorer, he has only made 1 assist since the season resumed. Anyway, the move to Chelsea will be a new chapter for the Frenchman, and we're yet to see if it's going to bring success both to him and the club. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, 11,500,000 euros. The Georgian winger is without a doubt one of the biggest discoveries of this season. After he had only played in his home country and in Russia, he never showed any significant numbers. His talent got recognized by Napoli. Last summer, the Italian side signed Khvicha from Dinamo Batumi, thus making one of the best deals of the recent years. Kvaratskhelia started dominating Serie A straight away, as he was named Player of the Month in August. Though some might have expected the Georgian to tail off after such a start, that didn't happen. As on the contrary, Khvicha has scored 12 goals and made 12 assists in Serie A so far this season. Victor Osimhen, his teammate, is the only player with more goal contributions, 21 goals and 5 assists. Speaking of his Champions League stats, there were 2 goals and 4 assists, as Napoli made it into the quarterfinals for the first time in their history. And of course, such a performance couldn't help but catch the eye of big clubs, among them Liverpool, Arsenal and Manchester City, though the player is reported to be a long-time Real Madrid and Cristiano Ronaldo's fan. However, there's Vinicius Jr. playing on the left at Madrid, so it's unlikely that Los Blancos will be Khvicha's choice this summer. No matter which club he picks, Kvaratskhelia is only 22 years old and has the bigger part of his playing career ahead of him. Andrew Robertson, 9 million euros. The Scottish left-back joined Liverpool in summer 2017 after his club Hull City got relegated from the Premier League. This move raised a number of eyebrows. Why would Jurgen Klopp go for a Hull defender of all the players? Robertson was expected to warm the bench at Anfield for a couple of seasons and then leave the club. But instead, the Scotsman forced his way into the first 11 with his immense workload and his desire to improve at both ends of the pitch. Along with another fullback, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson became Liverpool's secret weapon, as these two kept piercing their opponent's defense with pinpoint crosses and through balls. Andrew's impact was essential to Liverpool's massive success in all competitions, which made them one of the best teams in Europe. Now we can tell for sure that Liverpool totally robbed Hull at the moment they signed their left-back for 9 million euros. Andrew Robertson's hard work and dedication were what made him one of the best left-backs in the world. If you would like to know more about the most hard-working players of modern football, feel free to check out our recent video once you're done with this one. And now to the next name in our list. Gabriel Martinelli, €7,100,000. In summer 2019, the 18-year-old Brazilian Martinelli moved from Ituano to Arsenal. The Gunners coaching staff considered the youngster mature enough for first-team football, so in his first season, Gabriel was already given a fair share of playing time. The Brazilian's talent was obvious to everyone, though at the same time it was clear that Martinelli would need a couple of seasons to live up to his potential. The Arsenal board remained patient so that the youngster could keep improving without too much pressure on him. In the end, he developed into a world-class attacker under the new manager Mikel Arteta. The Brazilian stats this season are the best indicator of his quality: 15 goals and 5 assists so far in the Premier League, which is twice as much as there were last season. The player has already received a reward for his progress, a new contract with a higher salary that lasts until 2027. Gabriel Martinelli is only 21 years old, and should he go on like this, he has all the chances to become the most elite player in the future. Federico Valverde, €5 million. The Uruguayan left Peñarol for Real Madrid back in 2016. Valverde had to play for the B team at first, as then he had a loan spell at Deportivo La Coruña, where he got a taste of La Liga football. Real Madrid were pleased with Federico's progress as well as his potential, so the Uruguayan was given a chance in the first team, as a rotational player at first. It did take Valverde some time to get himself adjusted to Real Madrid's level of football, but his patience was worth it, as last season he finally became an important part of the team, especially against big clubs when Los Blancos had to change their approach in favor of more defensive football. While Fede's primary position is center midfielder, last season he often had to play as a right winger so that the team could gain more solidity off the ball. While playing on the right, Valverde made that very assist to Vinicius in the Champions League final, which once again made Real Madrid champions. This season has been marked with further improvement from Valverde. He made a wager with Carlo Ancelotti that he would score no less than 10 goals in all competitions. Fede has already scored more than that, so let's see if Valverde will show more of the same next season. Moises Caicedo, €5 million. Caicedo moved from the Ecuadorian side Independiente to Brighton in February 2021. Since then, he has evolved into one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. After a short loan spell in Belgium, at Beerschot, Moises was given a chance in the first team by Graham Potter in winter 2022. The player adapted to Premier League football in no time, as his quality performance made Chelsea and Liverpool consider signing Caicedo, though they decided not to make any bids at that point. This season has been even better for the midfielder, as his improvement made top clubs once again put an eye on him in January. Shortly before the end of the transfer window, Moises wrote a farewell letter to the fans as he asked the club to let him join Arsenal, though the Seagulls were too reluctant to sell the player. The board made it abundantly clear Caicedo had to wait until the end of the season, as only a 100 million bid could have made them change their mind. It is reported that the midfielder is going to cost 80 million this summer, which is still going to be a very profitable deal for Brighton, should we consider how much his signing cost the club back in 2021. Ronald Araujo, €4,700,000. The Uruguayan has been playing for the Blaugrana since 2018, when he was signed from Boston River. Ronald Araujo had to spend a couple of seasons at Barça B until his quality and hard work were noticed by coaching staff in the 2021 season. As for now, Araujo is among the best centre-backs in the world, and many big clubs were ready to snatch him from Barcelona last summer, when his future was uncertain. In the end though, he signed a new contract with Barça, which now seems the best decision for both the player and the club. The Blaugrana has only conceded 11 goals in 31 La Liga matches so far, so that you can compare, Real Madrid, who's going second, has conceded 28. And of course, such solidity in defense has a lot to do with Araujo's performance. Ronald is known to be especially good at one-on-one defending, as he's able to mark even the best attackers effectively. The 24-year-old defender has also scored a number of goals. There were 4 last season, some decent numbers for a defender, playing as a centre-back and on the right. Kaoru Mitoma, €3 million. The Japanese winger is yet another discovery of this season. The 25-year-old Mitoma was just a university player not so long ago and could only dream of a professional career. His career, however, suddenly soared as Mitoma was signed by the Premier League side Brighton in 2021. After not the most impressive loan spell at the Belgian side Charleroi, the Japanese was given a chance at Brighton. While he was expected to be a rotational player at best, the winger shook the football world as he became an essential part of Roberto De Zerbi's team. The Italian realized how much of a talent he had in his squad and didn't hesitate much before giving Kaoru Mitoma an opportunity to prove himself. Mitoma, one of the best dribblers in the league, has scored 10 goals and made 7 assists in all competitions, among them the late winner against Liverpool in the FA Cup. No wonder the Japanese is now a transfer target for big clubs from all over Europe. Apart from Arsenal, Manchester United and Liverpool, Bayern Munich has been following Mitoma. Brighton, in turn, would rather keep the player as they are about to offer him a new contract. After all, Kaoru's current salary is less than €500,000. The Seagulls would like to give their star a big raise, though it's unlikely that their offer would ever match those of bigger clubs. Daichi Kamada, €1,600,000. The Eintracht midfielder Daichi Kamada has been long among Bundesliga's biggest stars. Back in 2019, the Japanese moved to Eintracht from the Belgian side Sint-Truiden. He is a player of great versatility, able to cover any position in midfield, though Daichi's primary role is number 10. After Kamada's first season in the Bundesliga was a pretty mediocre one, the Japanese made a breakthrough in the following campaign as he scored 5 goals and made 13 assists in the league. After that, however, his numbers dropped a bit. It had a lot to do with the new head coach's tactics. Oliver Glasner was the one to lead Eintracht to the Europa League triumph ahead of the likes of Barcelona last season. Speaking of Kamada's individual performance, there were 5 goals and 1 assist in 13 matches from the Japanese. This season has also been a quality one for Daichi. He once again put on a show in Europe and scored 3 goals in 8 Champions League appearances. His contract is about to end, and the Japanese is now eager to try his luck at a bigger club. Many big clubs would love to sign him as a free agent this summer, but Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund are believed to be the main contenders. Pierre Kalulu, €1,290,000. Pierre Kalulu, now aged 22, moved to AC Milan from Lyon B in summer 2020. Last season, when the Rossoneri captain Simon Kjaer suffered a long-term injury, it was the Frenchman to save the day. He successfully replaced the experienced Dane in the first 11, so that the club didn't need to sign another centre-back, as Pierre formed a solid defensive duo with Fikayo Tomori. These two made Milan's defense truly impenetrable, as Stefano Pioli's side secured many clean sheets throughout the season, while its keeper Mike Maignan was named the best Serie A goalkeeper, and Milan won the first league title in 11 years, ahead of their bitter rivals Inter. Kalulu remains a first-choice defender this season as well, but Milan has long lost all the title hopes. The top 4 finish is now the Rossoneri Serie A objective. At the same time, AC Milan are to play Inter in the Champions League semi-final after they defeated the Serie A leaders Napoli. The team's problems are not about the players, but rather about the system, so there's no use in looking for anyone guilty. After all, Kalulu, just like many other players, will still have a chance to redeem themselves in the upcoming Champions League fixture. Our today's heroes had to face skepticism and doubt at the moment they changed clubs. While a small transfer fee may affect the player's morale, it may also lift the excessive pressure and let the newcomer play football and improve without being distracted by high expectations. Dear friends, who do you think should have caused much more at the moment of his signing? We're looking forward to you sharing your thoughts in the comments. See you soon.